This was a house spot that I hung out at whenever I was in high school when I'd get off work. This is where Linda LaFern and her children lived at. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this shit. Pay attention. Y'all got to pause some of this and look at the pictures. Did y'all hear Loretta's voice come through her VOICE? Where's 716 at? 998. Look at this shit. This shit ain't been that old. These houses here, these duplexes, apartment complexes, whatever they call them, they ain't that old. Look at this shit. Look at this. Me and my kids have haunted that house, which means we're still there. Look at this shit. I went off on this school for calling my babies a nigger. This is 18th Street. I'm going to take y'all by the daycare that I used to work at. So look at this shit. Look at this. But me and mines are niggers. Look at this shit. Look at this. Shit, it looked, hell, I don't know. The houses was looking worse when I worked over here. They were smaller, too. Now it's on the other street. Look at this. This field never looked like this when I worked here. They have the same equipment out here that they had when I left. The only thing that they added is that wall back there, that climb up wall. And the building was blue. It was called a learning experience. Look at this. That was the 4-year-old room. That first door right there, that was the nursery. That's where I kept all the babies. This was the 5- and 6-year-old room. From that window back there to this door, no, from midpoint of that wall to this door was the clubhouse. This was the office. And there was a bathroom. This was the Boys and Girls Club. I didn't work in there. And everybody knows why I'm crying. And I promise you it ain't got shit to do with the people that work there or even the building. But I'm pissed off that everybody allowed everything to take place. But anyways, I own that facility back there. There used to be a park down here. That's where I used to take the kids. And when you hear about my ALE days, you'll hear about how everybody passed away for wanting to kill me and my children. When you hear me talk about ALE, you'll hear me talk about Kathy Ingram, Ray Ingram, Stephanie Ingram, Rayanne Ingram, Michelle Lewis, Sheila Knighton, Paula Tackett. And then there's a Gina that worked in there, a Deborah Amador, a Mavis Wright, April Blue that tries to go by Gillespie or Gillespie, a Tanya Knighton, a Cynthia Haggard. The main ones I worked with was Cynthia Haggard, Deborah Amador, Paula Tackett, and Michelle Lewis. When y'all hear me get silent about some of these things that I speak of, such as ALE, where my kids were murdered at. And everybody wants to lie and say, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I don't know nothing about it. You think those people are really alive? They've been that size since I worked at the daycare. That truck's been sitting there since I worked at the daycare. I'm talking about that one that was backed in. These people aren't living. They aren't alive. And I am ever so grateful that my babies are explaining everything to me. One of the houses that my babies was murdered in. First they murdered my Justice, and then they murdered my Braylon and myself. If you look at that first window up there, you'll see me and my sons talking. And of course, you know, if I pull in a bitch, it's because everybody done said that I'm that bitch, and I'm not. Which means, when you start seeing bubbles speak, such as what's getting ready to happen to white boy Charlie, then y'all shall understand and know. Like that shit. These motherfuckers, they ain't they're dead. They ain't living. Look at this. This house still looks the same. The yard ain't been cut. But this is disappointing. And that's how Ray Ingram and Stephanie Ingram and Rayanne Ingram left it. Because Kathy had already passed away. And apparently they was told to have given me the keys the day she passed away, but I never received anything. See how nasty that is? And people are literally fucking dogs. But, you know, apparently that's the going thing. When you hear me speaking somebody else's VOICE, they're getting called out. Such as nigger Sasha. Still looks the same. They tore down the houses that was here. They murdered my kids in that cellar, above that cellar. But there was a house that sat right there, and some woman, a wannabe woman named Lena, lived there. And her and whatever, his name was Lonnie, I guess they had killed the little girl they was taking care of or something. But these houses, that house has been remodeled and redone, pulled out. That's the same house. The same house. They murdered my kids in this church. And for whatever reason, Jeremiah and Bonnie, who are DEAD guaranteed in the Lake of Fire, thought they needed to get married there. This road used to go all the way through, and I would use this road to get to 12th Street, where I told you Linda LaFern and her children lived at. That house has always been condemned, and they did, you know, they've tried everything. All this, we're gonna get it as close as we can. You can't touch nothing. Only thing you're gonna touch is me. This is 14th Street, where I've said my son is not to be at. This next building that I'm about to show you, that white building, that was called the Laundromat, Barry's Patch, something. But anyways, Dillard Taylor claimed to have owned that. They tore half of it down off of that white building. They tore it down because they murdered my sons and I in there. And they thought they could hide it. And they can't. Look at this shit. Oh, y'all didn't see him? Again, when you hear me speaking somebody else's VOICE, they are guaranteed to the Lake of Fire, such as Dana. That's a pretty car. Should be, I created it. This is where the gossiper men come down and have coffee at. This they raggedy ass post office. Motherfucker ain't never been changed. They ain't did shit to it. Ain't did shit. Why has the grocery store been closed down? There was nothing wrong with Apple Market. Now y'all know why the grocery store has been closed down. Pause that part and rewind it and look how skinny that nasty is. But I'm a nigger. I'm a nigger. But you all off my motherfucking resources and my motherfucking values.